Kids say the darndest thing. Welcome to Camp Crystal River. My name's Nick Tracanna, and today we're analyzing Abigail in this episode of Don't Be Scared, the show where I break down the plots and filmmaking techniques to help you become just a little bit less scared of horror films. Now, I'm just gonna let you know up front, this is gonna be a bloody one. I'll always try to present it in a comical way without showing anything too excessive, but if you're hypersensitive to seeing blood on screen, this might not be the video for you. Now, with that being said, let's jump right in. We begin with Abigail preparing for a big performance, and our cookie-cutter criminals are preparing for a performance of their own. And if you need any more clarification that these are in fact the bad guys, this girl has "fuck mom" tattooed on her hands. Abigail gets picked up from dance camp in a Rolls Royce, triggering a notification that the lazily named Tiny Dancer is on the move. Now, after what must have been months of meticulous planning for this heist, they decide to walk in right through the front door.
You just walked right in the front door?
Well, I ran, I had a little hustle going, but yeah, front door.
As soon as Tiny Dancer settles in and gets comfy, the crew makes their move. And after a few scholarly acts of self-defense, it turns out that this heist has become more of a kidnapping, because they, well, nap the kid. It becomes clear early on that Melissa Barrera's character Joey is the morally good character in the crew. She's the only one to make sure Abigail is even still alive, and took initiative to stop Frank from dropping a John Jones hammer fist on a 12-year-old girl during the kidnapping. Aw, how sweet. Before long, Angus Cloud's character Dean makes it.
You're real accelerated in this bitch.
And the crew is home scot-free. But waiting for them as they arrive is the real group leader Lambert, looking at the crew like they spent the day mismanaging a Los Pollos Hermanos. It turns out this is actually a heist turned kidnapping turned babysitting gig worth $50 million in ransom. Lambert then demands everyone hands over their phones, and now's a good time to run through our ensemble. We got Mr. Desperate to one day be head honcho Frank, the sketchy white rapper archetype Dean, or basically Fez from Euphoria, the insufferable Gen Z stereotype Sammy, the big dumb ogre Peter, the mom with a moral compass Joey, and the hardened take no shit, give no shit ex-Marine Rickles. Now we're fully up to speed.
See you in 24 hours, my lovely pack of rats.
And with that, Lambert leaves the kids home alone to drink, smoke, ride bikes inside, and eat all the sweets they want.
Let me get a piece of that candy.
To pass the time, the team does a friendly game of Guess That Backstory! And the only unpredictable element of this scene is that Joey is a junkie and eats a ton of candy to curb her addiction. So there's that. Joey's assigned to be the sole communicator with Abigail, so she'll have no concept of how many people are actually involved in the kidnapping. As expected, Joey's much more compassionate towards Abigail by loosening her handcuffs, offering a hot meal, and making the ever-coveted Pinky swear that Abigail's going to be okay. But despite these acts of good faith, Abigail leaves her with this.
I'm sorry about what's gonna happen to you.
While things are on a fast track to Project X out in the living room, this warning rattled Joey, and she demands to know who Abigail's father is, because
She just implied that her father might be a particularly violent man.
But nobody has a clue, except for the fact that he's filthy rich. Abigail then gets a good look at Frank's face, and he reacts like he just walked into a Whole Foods without a mask during peak COVID quarantine. It turns out Frank came into Abigail's room to ask about her father in a totally calm and non-threatening way, and she replies with,
Christophe Lazar.
Now, this name might not mean much to us now, but it's enough to send Frank running for the hills. He explains that Lazar is basically Satan or something. They never make it explicitly clear who he is or what he does, but he's clearly a powerful and dangerous antichrist-like figure. Finding out Lazar is a part of this whole operation totally killed everyone's buzz, but ultimately that $50 million payout is just too much to give up. Here we get alliances being made, cartoons being watched, and Dean cock-blocking himself with a poorly timed prank. This sends Dean wandering into Hell's Kitchen, and he becomes the first chef to hand over his jacket. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with the script, but it's just too funny not to put in here. Before Angus Cloud's character dies, he gets jump scared by a rat, and bro really squares up with the rat. Like, what are you gonna do? Uppercut, two-hand combo on the rat? I don't know, it just made me laugh. Sammy comes into the kitchen to investigate the commotion, only to get Dean's decapitated head served right into her hands. She then screams in terror because it's fucking wrong! The crew then comes in to see the preparation of Cranio Malapene, and begin speculating that it was Valdez, one of Lazar's top hitmen. And you know it's Valdez when
all 8 bodies are ripped apart, limbs and organs missing.
And Rickles said, fuck all that Valdez noise, I want out. But uh-oh, turns out the crew's been trapped in the house from the outside in. Joey then goes to check on Abigail, who reveals that Frank is actually Valdez. It looks like we got rats in the crew, and I'm not just talking about the one Dean was about to piece up. Joey and Rickles meet up and solidify their alliance.
We can take him.
But almost instantly, we come to find out that they in fact can't take them, and Rickles goes down. Joey then makes some pretty accusatory claims towards Frank, exposing that he's Valdez and that he brought the whole crew into this home to kill them, which he responds to by not responding and sending Peter up to go kill Abigail. But Joey made a goddamn pinky promise to keep Abigail safe, so we got a classic Mexican standoff in the bedroom, as guns are being pointed at damn near everyone in the room, giving Abigail the perfect time to slip out of her own handcuffs and reveal to the world she's a motherfucking vampire. Frank wastes no time putting one right in her forehead before she Undertakers her way back to life and wipes that gunshot wound right off her forehead. The crew's in deep shit because
we kidnapped a fucking vampire.
Now they first need to assess what exactly they're dealing with.
What are we talking about, like an Anne Rice or a True Blood, Twilight? Very different kind of vampires.
But they agree that all vampires die in the same ways, with garlic, wooden stakes through the heart, and crucifixes. Sammy and Peter split up to gather the ingredients for a vampire execution, but they might not be the best people for the job.
Sammy, those are fucking onions.
Well,
Frank, Sammy, and Peter go upstairs to kill Abigail with Joey waiting back, rightfully skeptical of this whole plan.
Let's go kill us a fucking vampire.
The crew barges in to see Abigail continuing to rehearse her dance moves with Dean's headless corpse. This little girl's got some serious work ethic. Not only is she a renowned ballerina, but she's got an incredible ground and pound and the stiff arm power of Derek fucking Henry. Now she doesn't kill anyone in the crew, but leaves them all knowing exactly who's boss. And Frank is totally chill about it.
Jesus, Mary, a motherfucking son of a bitch!
Since the original plan did fuck all, Joey hatches a new plan to use the tranquilizer from the beginning of the movie and try and knock Abigail out again. The crew splits up to cover more ground finding Abigail, and Sammy finds a coffin. It's almost too good to be true. But this shocking false alarm sends Sammy into what's definitely one of the lamest pool parties of the entire summer. Now there's more bodies in this pool than a goddamn Tallahassee college town, but Abigail's ditched her own function, because she's busy chasing Peter. But Frank barging into the hallway gives Peter the Jeremy treatment from Halloween Ends. Abigail shifts her focus to Frank as Joey tries to sneak attack her with the tranquilizer, but this girl's got eyes in the back of her head. She slaps the trank past the locked gate, and Joey is left reaching for glory while Frank gets strangled and Sammy gets bit. Now I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's not good. But watch out, watch out! Peter comes flying in from the top rope and wrestles Abigail down long enough for Joey to reach the trank and jab Abigail. Abigail later wakes up in a jail cell and Sammy wastes no time asking,
hey, what's gonna happen to me?
Abigail later reveals that she's the one who brought everyone to this home and actually provides deeper backstories for all the characters, explaining that each one of them did some sketchy shit that in one way or another screwed over her dad's business. So she used Lambert to hire them for a fake ransom job in order to get revenge on behalf of her father.
I like playing with mice.
But she strikes a deal with the crew.
If you let me out, I'll let two of you live.
And Peter immediately takes the bait, but Joey shoots him to stop him from letting Abigail out. Joey, Sammy, and Peter go into the other room to patch up Peter's gunshot wound, and Abigail tries to sweet talk her way into Frank's goodwill. But after unsuccessfully exhausting all of her best efforts, she just bench presses the gate away and walks right out. But Joey thinks on her feet and breaks a hole into the boarded up windows and allows a ray of sunshine to lop off Abigail's hand. I guess you could say Joey is pretty handy. Huh? With Abigail sufficiently pissed that she can only shake hands with her left hand from now on, Sammy decides to test if she's truly a vampire from Abigail's bite, and it looks like she's good to go. It becomes clear that Abigail's just waiting for it to get dark so she can freely hunt them in the house without having to worry about any sunlight. Sort of like me when I hit the kitchen for a sweet treat around 1 a.m. The girls get emotional as Joey reveals that she left her son for drugs, but she got clean and was going to use the money from this job to start over with her son.
Reset.
This word gives Sammy an idea, and she recruits Peter to help her find the house's power source in order to short-circuit it and reset the gates that are blocking them from leaving. But just as they get to a secluded part of the house, Abigail begins to possess Sammy, and it turns out she wasn't so good to go after all. She takes a chunk out of Peter's neck and slurps up his blood like the extra milk after eating a bowl of cereal. Abigail then puppeteers Sammy into duetting her entire dance routine in one of the coolest little moments of the film. She then attempts to trick Joey and Frank into coming closer with some less than stellar acting.
She got him. Oh no.
But Joey can sense something fishy and takes off into the living room. They cling to whatever sunlight they had left, and Joey once again makes a big brain play and uses a reflection to sunbomb Sammy. A secret door in the bookshelf opens up and they decide to enter it, even though both of them know it's probably a trap. Down the hidden hallways, they find a control room with Vampire Lambert watching the instant replay of all the security footage. He reveals that
all I do is bring her father's enemies here,
and proceeds to make an offer to Frank while choking out Joey.
You can die here, or you can help me kill Abigail.
This entails Lambert biting Frank so that they're both supercharged vampires in a plot to kill Abigail and her father. To which Frank says,
Bite me.
but as soon as Frank turns, he immediately stabs Lambert in the back. Literally. The stake to the heart triggers an Oppenheimer-level nuke, and Lambert's insides very quickly become Lambert's outsides. Before Frank has too much time to revel in his first kill as a vampire, Abigail arrives and they get right to it. While they're distracted, Joey disarms the house, grabs her phone, and makes a break for it. But it looks like Abigail isn't as overpowered when she's fighting other vampires because Frank dominates this fight.
I fucking hate ballet.
Now, despite disarming the house, there's still a physical lock on the one exit to get out of the secret bookshelf catacombs. Sensing the impending doom of Frank catching up to her, she calls her son in a last-ditch effort of redemption in case she doesn't make it through the night. She leaves him a heartfelt message and gets right back to business because Frank's right down the hall. He immediately helps her get through that locked door, leading us to believe that maybe he's turned a new leaf.
You fucking junkie.
Maybe not. Luckily, Abigail returns and it seems like she wants to rekindle their friendship. She tells Joey,
I'm too weak to take him alone. Help me kill him and I'll let you go.
and this kicks off a 2v1 to end the movie. But with Abigail getting crushed into the scorpion pose, it leaves Frank enough time to stab Joey and pin her to the wall. Abigail tries some fight dancing, knee strikes, and even a swanton bomb to defeat Frank, but it's just not enough. She throws up the sacred pinky of trust as Frank walks over to turn Joey into yet another vampire. And since Frank turned Joey, he has puppeteering powers over her and commands her to kill Abigail. But Joey's just too strong-willed for that kind of bullshit and keeps the fight alive. The two are finally able to work as a team, and the Joey-Abigail duo jam a stake into Frank's heart and unload yet another bloody nuke in the living room. If this movie proves one thing, it's that the power of a pinky promise could never be broken. But before we're able to reach our happy ending, Lazar shows up on the scene and is relieved to see his daughter has left out some dinner for him. But Abigail's able to convince him to let Joey go, and he settles for some softcore hand licking instead. Because it looks like bro's about to become a human Swiffer wet jet and lick up all the blood that's been sprayed all over his house. Joey finally makes it out of Lazar's house and celebrates with her last surviving lollipop before driving off into the moonlight. So there you have it. Abigail is one of my favorite horror movies of the year so far, and we made it through together. If you have any suggestions on what to cover next, drop a comment and let me know. Until next time, I'm Nick Tracanna, and this is Don't Be Scared.